homeschool is one of those whole life decisions. You know, the ones that alter the rest of how your decisions are made. Well, a lot of times our finances and careers are the first things that come under the microscope when it comes to working and homeschooling and figuring that out, making it an appealing option. But how? How do we make this work? I am beyond pumped to introduce you today to some homeschool moms who are also working inside and outside the home. You're going to hear the highs and the lows, as well as some practical tips and advice that you can use in case you're considering this path. So, ladies, welcome. So excited to have you here. Excited to connect. We're just going to do a little round robin introduction here. So, Shay, do you mind starting us off? I love that we've gotten to connect in different areas with each of you, but let's hear a little bit about each of you. So maybe your homeschool situation, your work setup, perhaps why you chose both work and homeschool to make that crazy decision. Tell us about that. Shay, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So, I've been homeschooling now for, I guess about 3 years. My oldest is in second grade, so it's still, I think every year feels new to me, even though I've been doing it for a while.
Same.
I also have a 3-year-old, so he is not quite into any kind of formal schooling, just play stuff right now, but I do have two. So my oldest is a girl, my youngest is a boy, and they keep me on my toes, that's for sure. Um, I am, as far as work, I do medical coding from home, so I work remotely, which I think has honestly been probably the easiest part for me working and homeschooling is the fact that like my schedule's flexible and I can do it from home. I know I hear from so many other moms all the time that they don't know how they could possibly work and homeschool. And it was something that I was very passionate about, not necessarily the homeschooling part in the beginning, but just once I had my daughter and I was on maternity leave, just the thought of leaving her every day for work and just and at that time, I know I should have said that I'm in Arizona now, but at the time I was living in Seattle and I was in the hospitality industry. I was commuting an hour or two to work and home. And so when I was on maternity leave, I just basically was like, this is not what I want for starting out a family. I decided to go back to school, completely changed my career, and that's how I got into the medical coding. And I'm just lucky, I think, with, when the pandemic happened and our jobs were sent home, my kids were pretty young. It was really before we got into the idea of homeschooling. And so things just kind of like fell together perfectly. I just think that, at least for me, God had a plan and it just worked out for us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I work from home. I have my two kids, just homeschooling one so far. So I can't give any advice on homeschooling multiples yet. I really don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah, that's kind of my
That's
background
awesome.
and where we're at right now. So
Cool. Thanks, Shay.
yeah.
All right, let's head over to Magali.
Yes. Hi. Okay. So I have long story that I'll do short. But so I'm from Canada, and then my husband is from Mexico. We met in Mexico. We live in Hawaii now for about 8 years. And anyone that has known anyone that goes live in a new country, then you have to deal with immigration. So since my son is 6, and then my daughter is 4. So since they've been born, I've worked throughout the pregnancy, and then after financially we needed it. So I did a lot of different things. It can be daycare at home, working like with MLMs, other companies online. And then now I work in a restaurant. So I'm the GM of the busy restaurant in Hawaii. And I started there as a server about 3 years ago, 2 years, yeah, something like that. And I became a manager last March. And so I work like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and then Thursday day. I mean, I do the schedule. So when it's busy, I work 5 days a week. For Christmas, I work 7 days a week. So I just try to make it work, and then homeschool in the morning. We do 3 days of homeschooling. And then Thursday, when I go work, during the day. My husband finished work around noon, so he comes and pick up the kids when I'm at work, but I take them with me. I mean, it's a family restaurant, so it's good. And then Friday it's our co-op, and so I just tried to make it all fit.
Wow. And what a puzzle. I feel like that's going to be a big theme in what we talk about today. Kind of puzzles, fitting it all together. Every family is going to have their own kind of puzzle shape, and you see where it all fits in. That is so cool. Oh, Hannah, tell us about you. Thanks, Magali.
All right. So thanks so much, Melissa, for having us on here. A little bit about me. So I am a homeschool mom. I'm actually residing in Wisconsin, and I have 4 kids, 10, 8, 5, and 2. So basically two homeschool kids and 2 kids that I just got to keep busy. I think we can relate, Shay, right there with my 2 boys that are the little ones. So I took piano when I was younger, and so my primary work is being a piano teacher. And when I was 8, I always wanted to teach piano. Lo and behold, I didn't know what that was going to look like long term, especially, adding in homeschool. And then I met my husband, and at the time he was in the Navy. And so for a while when he got out, it was a necessary thing as we transitioned, and he was in school full time. And so again, my kids were not quite school age at that point, my girls. And once my oldest, this was about 5 years ago, got to that school age, that's when I really had to pull back a little bit. And so I introduced a few other things into my life, just like the other moms, some more online work, building social media presence and other outlets so that I could continue to also, bring in income, but I still teach piano as well. So I'm really just excited. I think that it's a wonderful thing and it is possible. And so I'm sure you're going to hear some great tips today from all the ladies on how to do it. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I also have 4 kids, 10, 8, 6, and 4. I'm from Virginia, but currently live in South America in Ecuador. And I am an online teacher. So I was a teacher in the classroom, taught middle school gifted Spanish, which was a special place, special time in life. And then moved into online teaching and have since kind of developed a few other businesses with digital products online and this YouTube channel, and kind of helping other teachers and coaching them and coaching other homeschool moms toward a business if they need help. Because I know I had to figure it all out myself. And so I think a lot of what we've all had to do is figuring it out and figuring out kind of how this all fits into our homeschool schedule and how we feel about being the moms that we want to be and not the stressed mom who just has to get it done, right? We don't want to be the box checker, the one who's just doing it to get it done. We also want it to be kind of a beautiful time. So all of those kind of tug of war feelings, I think, that come into play here. But I would love to hear the highs, if we will. Let's start on the high notes here. What has homeschooling allowed you guys to do that you wouldn't have been able to do if you were working full-time outside the home? What would that have looked like? How would that alternate universe have looked like? Magali, I think you're mostly in that outside of the home world right now, not necessarily full-time, but what would you say?
Well,
how has this allowed you to?
I feel like it gives us a lot of freedom financially because we're not struggling. Like we've gone through that phase of only having one income, and that's really stressful for my husband, that he's more out of the home and then he's not spending as much time with the kids. As now when I'm away at home at work, he's staying either home, or when he goes and work, he does different jobs, but one of his jobs is working at a indoor batting cage 2 nights a week. So he takes the kids, he takes them to their soccer practice and things like that. So he's having him more involved, and that's what I like. They're learning Spanish. They only speak Spanish with my husband. They speak French with me because I'm from Montreal, and then we live in Hawaii and we speak English as well. So it's all 3. So I think it's giving them a better schooling of what I want as well. My husband is a musician, so he teach them about music when I'm not there. So I think it's more the freedom and the value of what we're looking for. And then also traveling. Like we're in Mexico right now, visiting his family. So we have 1 more week left, but we have spent over a month here. So just to have the freedom to do that, for sure.
Totally. We also do homeschool, bilingual homeschool, and my kids take French online, which I love. So I totally relate to you. That would be a very expensive education if we were to find that elsewhere and try to find, a public school. I don't know if that exists, and to all those classes outside of that to check those boxes. That's so cool. I love that you got so many pieces in there. Cool. Shay, what would you add to this? What has homeschooling and working kind of provided you?
I definitely think financially it's been the biggest plus for us. I mean, I don't ever like to say that we're maybe behind in certain goals or dreams, but I definitely think as with me switching careers, that maybe would have slowed down financially what, I was able to make since I was kind of starting from brand new. And then once I got started in my career, my husband really wanted to change things as well. And so he had decided to get into IT. And I think with both of us working, we were able to support each other to be able to like follow those dreams. And so even if it's been hard to kind of balance it all with homeschooling and working, I don't think that we would be like where we are with our own personal goals just as individuals if we weren't both working. And I think that that can be a valuable lesson for our kids, that it doesn't matter how old you are, as far as going back to school or, changing your dreams or going for what you want even after you have children. So I would say, just financially, it's definitely been the best decision for us to reach our goals. And, we're hoping in the future to possibly have a farm and have some animals and more land. And I don't think that we could get there without both of us, working and planning and saving for, that kind of dream. So even though it's hard, it's definitely been a blessing for both of us to have that income.
That's huge. I love that. And the career switch for your husband as well. That's huge. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times we need to think whole family, right? It's not just us moms. This is the whole unit that we're working with. My husband also works from home too. So I feel that, and the
hmm
flexibility is really helpful so that we can pair it together, right? You don't want to just miss each other the whole day. I love it.
Right.
Hannah, what would you add
Exactly.
to this?
Yeah, so I like the flexibility. I feel like that's one of the main things that you're hearing in so many of us because when I was talking to my husband about what we were talking about today, and he was like, being able to work, being able to bring in income, one of the biggest benefits is the benefit of homeschooling. Like we get to homeschool. And, you were talking, Magnolia, about like even private schools and all of that can cost a lot. And providing our children with the education that we want them to have, the diverse education, the enrichment possibilities, and all of that cost money. And so being able to homeschool, being able to give them opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have because we're working, from home. My husband is also an entrepreneur. We both do multiple things. We have all different things happening over here. And so he works from home as well. And so both of us doing this provides an opportunity for us to get this experience with our children that we want. Actually, we got chickens last year, so doing stuff like that and, going on road trips, taking vacations whenever we want, playing hiatus. See you later, a la vista. And, just that flexibility. What's most important to us, the reason that you have to have a why to get the highs, right? To make that sacrifice to homeschool. And one of the biggest things for us is creating that family culture and working out of the home for a home, as a woman and as a mom can help you actually give the opportunities to create that family culture that you really desire. And I think that's the biggest high for me is just looking back. My oldest is 10 and how working has provided so many opportunities for us just to be together as a family, which you would think would be like counterintuitive, but not
No,
really.
I think it goes hand in hand. I know for me, my oldest also being 10, she sees me editing YouTube videos and she said, I want to learn. And I said, okay, let's get you a Canva account. And she organized her friends. She goes, give me your phone. I'm going to message all their moms. She organized this little film session. They made a video. She wrote a script and then she edited it. And I'm like, I didn't know how to edit 2 years ago. So I'm really glad at 10, these are skills that we can then pass along. And not even just those kind of like technical skills, but the soft skills of managing a schedule and managing like all the different responsibilities that come into that fall into our laps, and let's not forget about keeping food on the table, keeping a house kind of clean, kind of, we'll let that one slide. A few clothes here and there that need to be washed and cleaned, that's important. But giving them the opportunity also to kind of have a hand in that running of the household, as well as age appropriate levels are reached, So let's not gloss over all the, it's not all butterflies and rainbows, right? So the idea here is that each of us probably have had some moments where we really felt like we couldn't manage our work, or we couldn't manage our homeschool obligations as we'd hoped we would have. So what are some of the struggles that you guys have had? If anybody wants to volunteer to go first, I'll give you guys a second to think on this, but I know some of mine have been feeling like I got to answer this message, but I have also got a kid talking to me. I mean, before we started recording, Shay, one of my kids came in and I said, hey, say hi to Shay, getting them involved in my business, but it's also like not the most professional thing. So I know those moments have happened to me. What about you guys where you felt like you weren't quite cutting it? Anybody feel like they want to go first, or maybe I'll pick?
Yeah,
on
I can
somebody.
start
All
if
right,
you
okay,
like.
go for it.
I mean, the two things that kind of stand out to me, like one you already mentioned, just like the balance between the two. I feel like I've always been passionate about, my work ethic. And then once having children, it's like we all just want to be the best parent or mother that we can. And so I definitely have days where I feel like I just can't be the best for both. And that can be really hard because some days I just feel like, I just wish that I didn't have to work and I could just focus on my kids and homeschooling and do more with them. And then there's also times where I wish I could, just have that independence and be alone and focus on my job and be, the best employee that I can be. And just balancing the two is definitely a struggle because, I think sometimes we can be our own worst critic and just always feel like we can do better. And, you just learn to kind of give yourself grace in both of those areas is, and being able to be with your kids so much more, even if you're working from home. I think you're able to see that they're still gaining that growth and education and, just giving yourself that grace, like I said, and seeing them still improve and learn so much in different ways that, maybe we didn't realize that they would, is kind of one of my whys that I keep going. And then the second thing that, I don't know if you guys have ever struggled with, but sometimes I kind of feel like I'm like this hybrid working stay-at-home mom to where I don't fit in really with other moms. It's like we go to our homeschool groups, and there's either the stay-at-home moms that nature school their kids, or there's the moms that work and their kid goes to public school or private school, and I'm just like, well, I'm just in the middle here trying to do both. And so it can be hard, to relate to some other moms sometimes, just because I really don't fit into either side of those. Um, so that can be a struggle, sometimes just socially and, getting out there and, being able to converse with other moms about things that we're going through. But other than that, I really wouldn't change the situation that we're in with our family. It really works for us. And it sounds like you guys have similar situations where you work it out with your family, whether it's, the mom adjusting things or the dad adjusting things and doing things with the kids that day. We just figure out a way to make it work so that we keep that family unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Magali, what would you say here?
Okay, so a few things. First of all, I would say that it's really hard for me to be missing out on my kids, like example dinner. So since I work nights, I mean, that's my decision because nights are busier. That's when I'm more needed, and that's when I need to be there the most, especially when it's busy. But it means that I'm not there for dinner with my kids. I'm not there for bedtime. So it can be hard for that. Really for me to, when over Christmas, when I work, I think it was 13 days in a row that I worked almost double, and it was just, I was missing my kids. So that's a decision that I took for myself, to work those shifts because I want to homeschool during the day. So if I would be working during the day, then the schedule wouldn't be the same. So that's one thing that it's a struggle for us. And I'm thankful for my husband to be there and to be supportive and things like that, that we work well together. And then the second thing is all that sometimes it can be hard to keep up with the curriculum and the plans and things like that, because if I only like homeschool 3 days a week, we are behind sometimes for our curriculum. And I really have to focus on, okay, we have 2 hours, then I'm not answering any messages and things like that. Of course, sometimes for work as a manager, I have to keep my phone, but people know that I homeschool, and then I'm going to look over my phone. But if it's not like an emergency, it's going to have to wait, because I just have to, find the difference between like giving time to my children and then giving attention to them. And then the third thing that I would say as well is to give yourself some grace for cleaning, because we can't do everything. And then you just have to like adjust your standards and just think that it's going to be clean when the kids are like older. So
yeah, it'll be clean when they're older. That's okay. You know what? I don't remember any messes when I was their age. Do they really understand? I don't know. As long as they're healthy, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, we clean like once a week, but sometimes like the deep clean is going to be like once every 3 weeks. And I mean, my kids are fine. So
it's okay. It's okay. We'll all survive.
Yeah.
Hannah, what about you?
So I'm just going to be real. I think that my biggest struggle that has gotten better over time is my own perfectionism, like my own desire to get it done right, get it done when I want it to be done. And when that schedule, rhythm, routine that I have, see the selfishness there, gets messed up, I have a short fuse. And so I think that was definitely more prevalent in the earlier years. And I think, I mean, I still make a lot of mistakes. I still make a lot of mistakes. But I understand now that it's okay to just put a break on it, take a pause, take a breather, give myself a few minutes. It's fine. You know, I know I can work through those things now as a older, more mature working mom that's, we've been doing this for a while. And so, but if I look back, that's, of course, those are the low spots when I let it get to me, and then I, would speak out of turn to the kids, and I have to come back and apologize. And so I think that that's a struggle. That's really the main thing for me.
Yeah, I totally identify with that. And kind of taking that pause, taking a side step and saying, what is really important right now? Is it that I do this thing, or is it that we get it done in this order, or can this wait till tomorrow? And having some boundaries in place is important there. I'm interested to hearing your tips in just a moment, but I think I've experienced a lot of this as well. And I think that letting go of the school at home mentality is something that I think a lot of us maybe have worked through instead of having, I used to have a little schedule like written out on the board. That's not, it's not there. It's stuffed in a drawer somewhere. We don't use it because it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic, and kind of having those realistic expectations. And as we said, grace for yourself. And that's going to make us the mom that we want to be, the mom that we want our kids to remember, not the stressed out mom, not the one who's just trying to fire off 10 emails when we really should just be focused on the face in front of us. So I love what you guys are saying. And we can tell that these hearts that we're homeschooling as well are really important. So I love that that's very evident in all your words. So thank you for that. So let's hop into some practical tips here. If somebody is considering starting to work while homeschooling, what tips and advice would you give? This could be like your productivity tips. Cannot speak. Where you speak and where you work, and can I speak? What you've chosen to work in. I love that we all kind of have some different areas that we work in that are especially mom friendly. How we might keep the house presentable, if not clean, those types of things. Magali, would you mind starting off on this one?
Sure. So I would say for myself, what I found is to do not a routine, like a strict routine. Like you said, I've tried that like hourly. That lasted like 2 days. So for myself, for whoever like is working or even that is has their kids in public school or like that's having kids is busy. So anytime that you're having kids is busy. So trying to find a routine that works for you. So I for myself, I found that when I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we do school. I don't do a lot of cleaning. I don't do a lot of cooking. It's really, really basic. Like I pick up a few things. I'm gonna like vacuum maybe a little bit, but it's really basic that I want to focus on being there with my kids, spending time outside. I go work out and then I go work. Thursday, if I work, then that's pretty much be the if I work during the day, it's going to be that focus. And then Friday is the homeschool co-op. Sometimes I work, and then Saturday I really clean and cook I prep for the week, and that's like that's what I do. And then Sunday, it's my family day. So it's really having a routine that is going to work. Like when Saturday I cook, I batch cook and then I freeze it and things like that. So during the week, I don't have time to, to focus on like cooking and things like that. So it's really for my husband that I can just take it out of the freezer. We warm it up and then it's done. Yeah. So that's finding routine that works for you. And then finding things that are going to make life easier and sometimes letting your husband as well help. Like example, grocery shopping. I love grocery shopping because I know what I need because I have in my mind, like, okay, like when I go to the grocery, I'll remember, okay, I need to get like chicken broth or things like that. But if I give a list to my husband, if it's not on the list, he's not going to get it. So, but I just have to learn on like letting him do things and helping around the house. And even if it's not going to be as I would want to be perfect, or my kids as well, they have chores and letting them help with the chores and clean because even if it's not going to be perfectly clean, they help and then eventually it will be better. And so that would be my first thing. And then just give yourself some grace.
Absolutely. Keep that grace coming. I love it. I think the meal prepping is huge. I love that you're talking about delegating tasks. I mean, my husband does all of our grocery shopping. I do all the cooking pretty much. But there's definitely some division of labor there that makes it so much more doable. And then with our kids too. We recently started having our kids clean bathrooms, and I was like, but there's still spots on the mirror, but next time they've practiced, like, let's just say, hey, on Tuesday after they've cleaned it on Saturday, hey, look, there's some spots. Maybe when you clean it next time, we'll be able to grab those. Hey, yeah, sure. And so it's this practicing that we've all gone through, and we do it with math problems. Why not with bathroom cleaning, So there's different steps that they might need to. I love it.
For sure.
Shay, what about you? What are some of the things that have helped, or what would you advise newbies to this adventure?
Sorry, I was taking some notes here really quick when you called my name. So I mean, I think like the three kind of, I guess, tips or advice that I would kind of give are really just being flexible, not comparing like your family or homeschool to anybody else's family or homeschool, and then also just remembering what brings your family joy. So I've learned to be as like a very organized, outlined preparation type person. I've learned that I have to really, really be flexible with like our schedules and my expectations. And so I think, telling maybe a new mom to homeschooling and working that, it's okay to go into it with a plan and maybe have goals, but not necessarily, having to use this specific curriculum or use what this family uses or use what this person recommends, or even this is what you should be doing every day. Our schedule changes sometimes every year based off, where we're living. We had to move this past year and our whole homeschool changed. So it's like, with me working and doing homeschool, sometimes we do math once, only twice a week, and the other days are horseback riding or taking outschool classes. And then maybe one day it's just meeting with our homeschool group and reading together at night. Like every day can look completely different for us. And I think letting go and accepting that has brought a lot of peace, at least for our family. And kind of just tying into that, like I said, just not comparing yourself to the other homeschools. And, sometimes I have to kind of pick a break from like social media or YouTube and seeing what all the other moms are doing, even though I appreciate the advice so much. And it is definitely great advice. It can be what I've noticed kind of like a damper on me feeling like, maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I need to try this curriculum, or maybe we should have used this, or are we doing enough reading and math every day? So just kind of taking that advice from other families with a grain of salt. And also just, like I said, making sure that the joy remains in your home. And so you guys had mentioned, like cleaning and having time for cooking or being with your spouse. And um, I think I'm really lucky with my husband that we're on the same page with this stuff, as far as like cleaning and, you know, not necessarily having one person have to take on a role all the time. Like sometimes I will cook, sometimes he'll cook. Sometimes the kids are going to just be eating chicken nuggets and we're going to eat together in the kitchen and have a nice meal. And that could be 9 o'clock at night, or it could be 6 o'clock at night. Like just not having this idea in my mind of what our family should look like or what we should be doing has really just brought a lot of peace, I think, to both of us. And just realizing as long as we're happy, our kids are happy and healthy, then that's all that matters at the end of the day. And that really helps us, I feel like, get through the craziness of trying to balance all of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. Hannah, what would you say here?
Well, both of them said a lot of good things, which I love. But
Yeah.
I would also add, if I was talking to a mom that wanted to start working and was homeschooling or was wanting to start both, that the first thing you really want to consider is why. Like, why do you want to work? Because the reason I would ask you that question is, as you hear from all the ladies today, there's going to be some load spots. And yes, the good, the highs, the things that we've been able to experience because we're working and homeschooling have been wonderful. But there's going to be those days where push comes to shove and you want to throw in the towel. And so you have to remember why you're doing this and the value that it can bring and the purpose that you're doing it for your family and for you as well. So just keeping that at the forefront of your mind. And I want to add in some practical things that I think are really helpful that you also heard. And maybe if you're resonating with me, this will just bring you some clarity. Having home management systems in place and rhythms. And yes, sometimes we do have to throw in the towel, as you heard from the ladies. Like sometimes just forget the schedule. But you also have to know what works well for you, your kids, and you, right, ladies? And so my oldest two girls do really well with routines and rhythms. Now, the reason I would say why and home management is because you can have all these rhythms and things set in stone. However, my last pregnancy, the what does it say, when the roof hit the wall or whatever, everything went out the door. All my rhythms, all my routines, all my menus, everything was like, right? Because I was so sick. And so, however, the things that I put into place for work, for homeschool, for keeping the house clean, those rhythms and prep work, like mental prep work or lists that we have, literally kept the boat sailing through that season, because there's hard seasons. And I was going to say some other things. Oh, you asked, did you ask this, or maybe I'm lost, about different types of work for moms looking into
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
the work? Okay, because I know they've kind of shared. So one thing I would really strongly suggest for you to think about is, what do you bring to the table? Because we live in like a global market at this point. And so we have a lot of skills, knowledge, and assets that we can share with others. You hear a lot of these women have digital products. I'm going to give my husband an example, even though he's a male. We're talking about mothers here, but
Why
he
not?
has been why not? Because he's been making knives. It's one of his side gigs, you could say. He makes knives. He's been doing it since he was a teenager. We were both homeschooled, him and myself. And so you may very well have a handicraft or a thing, a skill set that you can share and you can monetize. It could be cross stitching, it could be crocheting, it could be, I play piano, I still teach piano 1 day a week. All of those are not your typical maybe jobs, but they can bring in a significant income. And also, you heard the other ladies mention, like, don't, blink an eye with affiliate marketing, Amazon affiliate. If you are not opposed to sharing on social media has a great opportunity to grow and learn with you long term. So those are just a few suggestions that I have that can work really, really well.
Absolutely. And I would even say lean into your experience as a homeschooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of I feel like I am a better online teacher because of homeschooling, and I'm a better homeschooler because of my online teaching, because I've met with thousands of kids online every week, and I've seen, oh, this could work with my 8-year-old. This could work for the 4-year-old, and so you're pulling those in, and then I've created products out of those. For example, quick example, one kid, not a fan of sitting with me to do her language arts. We sidestepped the curriculum for a little bit. Another benefit of homeschooling, being able to say, hey, this isn't working. We're going to sidestep it for a minute. Let's go read together. Let's do a book study together. That book study worked really well. I created a course, recorded videos, and kids take that course so that they can learn from a teacher and also have the flexibility of those self-paced classes. So it's a really interesting place to be. I think you're right. It is a really cool time to be doing what we get to do. So if that's something that you can lean into, I think that's awesome. Okay, we are going to go ahead and lean into some advice. We've gotten a lot of really good takeaways. I've heard a lot of give yourself grace. I've heard a lot of, lean into your partner, perhaps lean into your husband, lean into routines, prepare ahead of time, set in place systems. Have we missed anything? Anybody have anything else to add? I feel like those are really good takeaways. I don't know that I would add anything else in there except for maybe.
I have one more.
Okay, good. Got it.
Well, actually, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but I wanted to emphasize taking breaks. And this goes across probably any workforce, whether you're working for a company or you're self-employed. Take a vacation, take a break from school, just take a break. And I mean, that can look different for all of us. Just for me personally, for like piano lessons, for example, I have scheduled breaks throughout the year that I can see that are coming, that I'm going to get a break, right? For social media work, taking a sabbatical, just tuning out. I'm gone. I'm out of the office, right? So don't forget to take breaks.
And let's not forget even weekly Sabbath. I don't work on Sundays, and that is a hard rule. I try not to even do homeschool prep on Sundays. Like literally read a book, play games, sit around with kids, be together, rest, because this is so draining. I think that's a really wise word. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask one final question. This is something we are wrapping up with now. What are you looking forward to in the next 6 months? This could be something personal, something business-wise. Get as personal or as crazy as you want. I know I'm dreaming some big dreams as a family. We've got some big things cooking, and it's kind of this juggling act where I'm like, do I really want to invest in this big dream that I've got, that I've had cooking in here for a little while, that I've got half baked on the internet, or do I want to really just pour into where I'm at with my family right now? So there's a lot of behind the scenes work, perhaps, that we're all feeling too. So anybody want to start us off here? Hannah, you're already unmuted. Go for it.
Sure. Well, I'm looking forward to summer because I don't live in Hawaii. We're in Wisconsin, and actually it's like 70 degrees today in February, which is incredible. My kids have been playing outside. They'll probably play outside the rest of the day. So I'm looking forward to summer. We do like all year round schooling. Probably many of you ladies do, just because of the flexibility that brings. But we do tend to take extra time off in June and July just to enjoy the beach. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I was actually talking to Melissa about this. I've been behind the scenes working on creating a blog. And so I've been on YouTube for 2 years and on Instagram. And so I know this is the next step. And in the next 6 months, I'm gonna be helping so many more moms. And so I'm excited about that.
I'm excited for you. Yay. Magali, what do you have going on?
Well, first of all, with my YouTube channel, I mean, I've had it before for like visiting Kauai, and it wasn't really taking off. So I switched last August for homeschooling. And since then, I've really found that's what I like the most. And I want to really focus on that and helping other people, because I always get people asking me, how can you work? How can you homeschool? How can you do it all? Obviously, I don't do it all. But so focusing on that, and then I'm excited to go back home and go back into like our activities and things that I have planned for the family. I mean, where I live, it's always exciting. There's always so many things happening. So we have like hula show that is coming up, the co-op, and then like making Hawaiian meal together, and then summer camps for the kids. They're excited because they get to go play with other kids, not just to stay home. So that's a lot of things that I'm excited to go back home for, and then planning our next travel. So I love to travel as well, but probably into fall, we're going to go to Oahu. My husband does bodybuilding, and we're probably going to go there. So I'm like, let's take a trip there. And then personal, I mean, I want to get pregnant. So I'm like planning ahead, to be working. I mean, I don't want to be working as a GM and out of the home with the baby, but it's just planning ahead for what can I do at home. And there's so many options. So just for that.
As we've heard, oh, that's exciting. Cool. Shay.
Yeah, so I think our like next big goal or dream as a family is really just to figure out where we want to settle down and buy a home and get some land, hopefully. So we're planning a trip this year, hopefully within the next few months or so, to start looking at some different properties. And we're going to start with Texas. So like I said, we're in Arizona right now, which we love. We love the heat, and it's been great, this past year and a half or so that we've been here. But I think as far as, just thinking about the land that we want and having animals and access to enough water and things like that, we just want to make sure that we're, checking all of our options and end up in the right place. So I'm just excited really to start looking and traveling and seeing what, God has planned for us. So that's what I'm most excited about. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. Bring on those chickens. Bring on those chickens. If you guys haven't yet, follow Brittany Young. She has a whole homeschool business and chicken coop and organic blueberry farm, which is really fun. So Shay, I'm like thinking about that for you. We got to connect you two. But anyway, very fun. Well, you guys, this has been such a joy. I'm so excited for people to hear your stories. Please go follow each of their YouTube channels and follow them and see what they're doing, because there is a lot cooking in these homes. And guys, I'm so thankful for you that you took the time to join me today. Thank you. And for those of you who are watching, if nobody's told you yet today, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. It's really important. Happy teaching, guys.